Hello, mate. How are you? All right, yeah. All right. So I'll come over to you in a minute. We're doing a thingy. We're in Hyde Park, and I'm not too sure what the occasion is, Cassie, but it's something.
I think it was part 2 of the march against, obviously, the illegal lockdown, killer V's. But yeah, it's not very busy. I believe most of them are on a march.
Now, Cassie put out a video. I met Cassie a couple of years back, and I ended up giving a short, rendition of what's happened. Cassie posted it, and it sort of went a bit viral. It ended up with something like
about 2.5 million views. Yeah, the infamous video. I got a lot of flack.
Yeah, and so
unwanted attention.
Oh no, but this is what happens. When you put your head out, they come, don't they? And and you sort of move sideways a bit, but you're sort of slowly coming back into the. But this is what happens to these trolls, Cassie. They just attack because we're near the target.
Yeah, if ever I'm over anything to do with the abuse of kids, that's when I start getting heavily attacked and trolled. But it made me wear a thicker coat after that infamous video, John. But I feel really passionate about it now. If you watch my stuff, if you watch my videos, I will come out, and I've got balls to come out and start talking about Satanists and Luciferians and what they're actually doing to kids, like abusing and torturing them. Like, this is the real shit that's taking place, and I can't have it on my conscience not to say anything.
No.
I can't.
And the other thing, I'll just push this up a bit. We'll get a bit of. The other thing, Cassie, that we started speaking about was these people that started like nude bathing in swimming pools and inviting kids.
Yeah, British naturism. Well, that's a good thing on lockdown. We can't have any British naturism like activities taking place. But yeah, like British naturism, I picked that up last year, and people, if you're an adult and you want a freedom of expression, get your socks off. It's whatever you want to do. But these events were a cover for paedophiles infiltrating, and when you started looking into it, it was. And there was, after I started covering it, there was a guy. Who did he meet? He was a 34-year-old man. He came down to meet. He thought was 14. Where was he taking her? Naked swimming.
No, it's just
exactly what I was saying. They're infiltrating.
But it's like I say, okay, you've got this group that are doing it, but who is facilitating this? I mean, I've had people come to me that were abused in army bases, in a police accommodation block, in a British Foreign Legion place, and I was thinking, and Salvation Army. Okay, right, they're saying this, but someone has to organise that. There's an audit trail. Someone's got to ring round and plan this, and it's the planning of it, the sterility of this, that really upsets me, because it's really well sought out.
Well, from when I looked into this information, and when you're trying, you realise as a passionate mother is discovering that we've got an organisation that is being exposed. They even say so in their safeguarding policy that due to the nature of their organisation, they are going to be susceptible to people with a sexual interest of children. Even though that's been raised as a concern, the organisation is still allowed to continue. When you raise concerns with the local authority, they're not interested. It's a police matter. When you raise concerns with the police, it's not of their concern. So it's kind of like when you're trying to raise issues of concern for the well-being of children, it stops. No one seems to be interested. No one seems to want to deal with it. I think we've got the crowd.
Oh look! All right. Should we go over there? Let's go and have a look. Let's go and join this. Is this all right? Here they come. Let's. All right, here they come. Is this the 5G mob? Is this Kevin and? Here they go. Here we go. Good to see everyone. Let's just. Oh man! How are you, man? Oh, cheers. How are you? Thanks, man. Cheers. Cheers. Here's everyone. Hello, how are you? Hello, mate. How are you? Yes, darling. Oh! Hello. Hello, everyone. How are you?
All right, man. You all right?
Yeah, stay safe. All right. Oh.
What a mark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. What a group. What a group. Look. Wow. Hello. Hello. Pleased to meet you. Yeah, I will, yeah. No, I'll see you in a minute. I'll come and see you in a minute.
I adore him. He does a lot of work. Of course, I
Hello,
know.
darling.
He's an amazing YouTuber. Amazing YouTuber.
Jon Wedger.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do stuff for the child
amazing
abuse.
YouTuber.
Let's go round and let's get everyone. How we are.
All the stuff here.
Right, here we go. Hello.
I listened to my parents. I heard you were going to be here.
Oh right, yeah, no, I try and turn up when I can. Hello everyone. All right, we got everyone coming in today, and it just shows solidarity, doesn't it? Oh really? All right. Hello. Show us it. Hold it up. Right, talk us through it.
So,
see, this symbol pops up a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, this symbol. Sorry, my hair. This symbol is basically a sign of paedophilia.
Right, yeah.
Which is a lot in like America, and some UK, like the Pope has it on his thing and stuff.
Oh right,
like
okay. And I know about NAMBLA.
NAMBLA, yeah, George Soros
Yeah.
is NAMBLA, and he's basically trying to normalise.
And NAMBLA stands for the North American Man Boy Lovers Association. I remember for my days in the police, you know.
Yeah, I was literally watching you the other day. I just thought it's a mad how each time you got close to whatever, they took you off the case. Didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, they don't want anyone getting near to this.
No,
Oh, let's say hello to Piers Corbyn. Hello, Piers. How are you?
I'm very well.
Hello. And how's it gone today?
Very good so far.
Good.
We've had a bigger crowd than last week. Every week crowds are getting bigger and bigger. We had a big impact around Oxford Street. Our speeches at Oxford Circus as well, as Tottenham Court Road.
You know?
We missed out Bond Street because people walked past it without noticing.
Well, the thing is with it, Piers, we've been there at all these demos, you know, in the heart of the lockdown. Not one of us has died, have we?
No.
You know, we're all still here, we've all got our
No,
health.
the figures are nonsense. This so-called crisis is just the same as a normal flu. It's not even a bad flu. And whether there's an actual separate COVID-19 virus, the COVID SARS-2 virus, which would cause COVID-19, that is a question. We have a letter to the government saying you've got to prove it by normal tests or give up this attempts at lockdowns and all this New World Order nonsense.
Yeah, and this is what we're moving to, because we've seen countries like Sweden and Brazil, they've just totally just abolished it.
Yeah.
And it made no difference. Well, it's lovely to see you keep. So what we've seen today is a start really of all the groups getting together, you know, and we had say the former shadow Prime Minister's brother there, boldly speaking out. They gave me the platform, which was very kind of them, you know, and so many people have just had enough, absolutely had enough. And the strange thing is we're now in the Monkey Puzzle pub in Paddington, and it was on the road of Sussex Garden. It's on this road where all the children were taken. This is the main epicentre. These roads are just lined. You can just get the sign in there. This pub's no reflection of this pub. This pub's owned by a guy that I know. He's a nice guy, lovely guy. You know, and a lot of them were unaware of what was going on, really. You know, on their front door. And just outside here is a busy road, and it's lined backwards and forwards with hotels, and these hotels would rent out rooms by the hour to Foxy, Fiona Walsh, the prostitute that was running the show. As we showed, she was in with coppers, a judge, all sorts of people from the entertainment industry, and she was procuring these poor little girls, these poor souls, for their clients. You know, some for 500 quid a time in an upmarket Mayfair restaurant, and other times just down the road from here, that way, big council estate. I can't remember the name of it, it'll come to me in a minute. Big tower block estate for 10 rocks a time. So, you know, demographics for the punters were as varied as really as the children that she was pimping out. But it's changed now. It's very much changing. I think the internet's had a lot to do with that. But the problem hasn't gone away. It's still there, absolutely still there. But what we've seen is the complicit nature of the British people. You know, what we're doing here, this isn't a talk about the history of beer drinking or anything like that. But it's just saying that this is part of our culture. This isn't Saudi Arabia, this is United Kingdom. We have a beer and a chat. You know, it's what British men do. You know, and it's embraced by all that come here because it is a lovely way of people to get together and have a chat. And they've stopped us from socialising, having a chat. You know, they've stopped us going to our places of worship for some sort of spiritual substance. You know, again, there's a big question mark over these churches. You know, but that's another topic. But just take the essence of what they were. You know, they stopped us going around our families and hugging our families. You know, seeing our grandchildren, seeing our mothers, seeing our aunties, our sisters, our brothers. They've stopped it, and our friends. They stopped us doing that, and people have just bought it. You know, this is a nation that sort of went all around the world. You know, again, a bigger argument, but fought against tyranny. And you know, I was talking to Piers Corbyn the other day. He said it's exactly how Hitler started, and I agree with him. It is exactly how Hitler started. You know, and we see the reluctance of people to talk about child abuse. The reluctance of them to discuss it because it's off-putting. It's not what we should be talking about. Yeah, if you mention football, how Spurs are doing or whatnot, then oh yeah, everyone's there. You want to talk about Strictly Come Whatever, oh yeah, they're there, or the soaps or whatever crap is going on. But things that really matter, you know, a huge reluctance to engage. And one of the things I'm also seeing is people are now backing away, and they have done, of giving podcasts because their family, because of the popularity that this is getting, is from their families. Their families are telling them not to, and I don't know why. Maybe because it would bring focus on the family, shame on the family. I don't know. I don't get, you know. But the victim of these things, you know, they want to speak out. They come to me and want to speak out, but it's their family that are trapping them from speaking out. Now that's wrong. That really is wrong. You know. And one woman, she did say that one of her children isn't fully aware. She's happy to talk, but you know, under a pseudonym and basically disguised. So I've not got a problem with that. But the world needs to know. We need to start shaming these people. Oh, gunshots, shots fired. We need to start shaming these people for what they've done. We really do. So look, we're in the heart of central London, the epicentre of the street child prostitution market. And I think it's fitting that I come here and I sit down in here and I'm just having, like say, my first pint in ages and reflect on what's going on, because, you know, you need to realise that this is still continuing. This is still going on totally and utterly unabated. And until we do stand up and speak out, it will continue. But how lovely to see all these people. And what I like was the younger generation, really with the 5G, and we saw them, you know, giving their little speech, and we saw the girl who came with her father, and we spoke to her and her father, and how lovely that they are taking an interest in the world around them. How beautiful that they're doing that. You know, two generations coming together. She brought her dad along. I just thought that was brilliant. I thought that was absolutely awesome, you know, and what a lovely relationship that girl's got with her dad. You know, isn't it a shame that all fathers couldn't have been like that with their children? You know, look how much a better place is when you get that, instead of the resentment, the hatred, the anger, the absence. And, you know, we need to start speaking out about absent fathers, because that, again, is wrong. It really is wrong. You know, whatever way we look at it, it's wrong. We're leaving our children vulnerable, and I know that relationships break down, I know, but for God's sake, give it a go. And, you know, be with a person a while, you know, before you have a kid with them. You know, because if you're not getting on with them, having a kid ain't going to make it any better, and it's the kid that suffers. And again, it's not me on my soapbox and moral high ground. You know I never do that. I brought up 4 kids on my own. You're talking to someone, you know, from my late 20s, I had 4 children on my own. The youngest was 9 months. It was nothing but hard work for me. very emotionally a lonely place, and I couldn't have a partner, I couldn't maintain a relationship. I was in my prime, you know, and my kids needed a mother, and they just had me, and I had a full-time job. And there were occasions when my children were home alone, the older one looking after the younger ones, and it was almost Dickensian. But we were a close-knit bunch, me and my boys and I, sorry my grammar. But at any point, and I was doing this under the you know, the attack of the police, because I spoke out, and I was worried that they could come any time and just have me for child abandonment or whatever it might be. So I get it, I get the attacks people coming from, so it was nothing but hard work. So I'm on your side. I'm on your side for those parents that are struggling and all that. I am with you on that. But it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. And I feel for all those that are getting a hard time from the family courts. But it's not our lifestyle that must come first, it's our children that must come first. You know? Not the dating websites, not the girls' nights out or the lads' nights out. Our children must come first. You know? My boys are older now, hence the reason I'm having a little beverage. But I was really chuffed to bits. I was just a little bit, I felt a bit sick because someone pointed out a guy that potentially could be a paedophile, and it really put me off my stride. I got a little bit twisted inside, and I couldn't get my focus because I just wasn't happy with it. But anyway, sometimes it's not those we know about, it's the ones we don't know about, the ones among us that will come and infiltrate us and will try and dissuade us from what we're doing, and we see that all the time. You know, the attack is coming from women. But what was really strange was that one of the girls come up to me, and she came up as if to give me a hug, and as she did it, she whispered in my ear, she said, John, just to let you know, the police have been asking questions about you, and they've been asking people, is that guy Jon Wedger? Is that Jon Wedger? So it shows that I'm cropping up on police briefings now. I am forming part of police briefings. But again, I don't care, you know. And what do I speak about? I just speak about justice for children, and I'm against corrupt police officers, and I'm against paedophilia, and that's that. So if the police have a problem with that, then that's something that we need to address in the high courts and through the parliamentary process. But things are gaining momentum, they really are. So I just want us to all keep focused, keep going. Let's get all these groups together. We saw the World, what was it called, the World, that lad Simon with the World Protection Council or something like that. The guy Simon from Manchester who came down, and he said exactly what Corinne said to me. You know, we have our own thing, but when we come here, we come together as one, and then we break off and we go our own way, which I agree with. I'm not part of a big group, no one owns me. You know, I will do my thing, and I will do my thing independently, but I will have my team that are helping, and they're doing likewise. And when we come together as a chain, you know, not as a solid block, as a chain. And then we break off and go our own way. So we was intending to go and chat with people, but because this is the first time that this has really occurred, that people have been allowed back. Like we said, you know, a few hours ago, this was illegal. To sit here and do this would have caused us to have the police on our back and maybe be arrested. How unbelievable. You know, and why? You know, and how's anything different from what it was 24 hours ago? There is no difference. You know, I was looking at a thing where Brazil abolished the lockdown in March. They abolished it. Their deaths made no difference. It was the same. And Peru, the rise in deaths in Peru was actually higher, and they had a lockdown, than it was in Brazil, pro rata. And we saw the same with Sweden. So it's been proven it's bollocks. I'm not saying that this virus isn't a reality, but it isn't killing the people that they said. It's not a pandemic. It isn't. And the lockdown has been proven with the statistics from Belarus, from Brazil, from Sweden, that it made no difference if people were locked down or not. It made no difference. Yet they've totally turned the psyche of everyone. At the same time that a lot of paedophiles in high office were being exposed, such as the Epstein lot and Prince Andrew, you know, and all the rest. So we've seen Ghislaine Maxwell's now been arrested. Well, good, you know, and I hope that she is made to give up those that were involved. Maybe she'll cut a deal, I don't know, who knows. But maybe she'll grass up all those that were involved in British High Office and start giving us the little victories that we justly deserve, you know, and stop accusing the victims and survivors of being liars and snakes and cheats and fantasists and everything else, which they clearly aren't, you know. So anyway, from Paddington, from the Monkey Puzzle Pub, you know, that's me, and I'm just saying good luck until the brew with a view later on tonight. Thank you everyone, thank you for the support.
Right, we've got enough people. Hello, people. Right, okay. Are you ready? This is really damning, shocking stuff. It's appalling. Right, I'm gonna press play. Okay. Let me know if you've got any problems hearing it.
Alright, my name's Jon Wedger. I know Brian mentioned me earlier. I did 25 years. I'm an ex-policeman. I was a detective in the Metropolitan Police. I dealt with, I specialised in child abuse investigations.
Can you hear it all right?
I dealt with a case of, I was on the vice unit, specialist unit in the police. I dealt with a case of child vice that was reported.
Can you hear it, people?
I looked into it and it was quite apparent that it was quite endemic. You had one little girl, she was 13, she was being pimped out, and she was being given heroin and crack cocaine. And she told me of another girl, who told me of another girl, and on it went. And it was an organised child prostitution racket, which was increasing by the day. The kids went from 9 years old right the way up to 14-year-olds, and they were taken to some wealthy places, they were taken to some bottom-end places. But what came out of it was that these kids were all known to the care system, to social services. They were all subject to care orders, every one of them. And also that there was a judge involved, there was a senior copper involved, there was someone high up in the BBC involved, and it had been going on for well over a decade and probably into 2 decades. I put together a very concise and factually based intelligence report, submitted it, and thinking that I would be promoted for what I disclosed, or at least rewarded, the opposite occurred. At the same time, this is relevant, I was a single parent of 4 children. I was brought into a senior officer's office. This senior officer is now one of the leading police officers in the country.
Leading police officer?
And what happened next was just, well, it was perverse. He turned around to me and he said, you know, what have you done? I said, well, what do you mean what have I done? He said, you know, what you've found out can never get out. He said, if you mention a word of what you know outside of this room, you're going to F us, F-U-C-K us, past, present and future, and this cannot and shall not and will not ever get out. He said, if you mention a word of it, I will throw you to the wolves. You will lose your job, you will lose your home, you will lose your children. You cannot say a word about this. You have no idea what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, and how deep this goes. Now, these kids, their lives were at risk. They were living a very, very dangerous lifestyle, and in effect, children did die. The main key witness died. They shut the investigation down, and I was removed. I then went on to another unit, and within the matter of 3 days, I found 50 children that were being prostituted out. These kids were all known to social services, and they were all, the system was making money out. We were at the Police Whistleblowers Conference in the north of England, and someone calling me there. Really, what we're here to do is sort of see how we can move this forward and try and get justice for the public, and to stop police officers from being bullied in the horrendous manner that they are. And it seems that and police services just act with total impunity when it comes to police officers. So right, I'm just going to hand over. What we've got here is Robert, you come forward.
Okay, I'll move out the way.
Yeah.
I'm in the way.
Let's move that. No, you're actually right.
let me introduce our first civilian of the evening. We've got Robert Green, and Robert come to prominence. In the background, we've got Darren, our manager. But Robert came to prominence a few years ago because he'd exposed really a child prostitution ring, but involved special needs stroke Down syndrome children. And for the fruits of his honesty and integrity, he was banged up in prison. So Robert, if you could just tell us really, your story is sort of quite well known, but what we're to do is what they actually do to you. So in essence, what did they end up doing to you?
Oh, well, I had 2 spells in prison, 2-3 months in high security prison. It really frightened me. It's to do with Scotland and the Scottish government.
Level, and now they will only take people that are graduates with degrees from university, and it's probably going to be the worst thing that they will do.
Let them have their system. Let them have their system, John. We are going to start our own system, a parallel system to the existing one, and that starts with skilled people, not people with degrees, skilled people. Yeah. Now, there's a few criteria that I want to talk to you about, and something that we discussed earlier. And one of the first things on this agenda is the awakening. Now, there is a massive awakening, and especially more so during this COVID-19 lockdown, which I can't believe anyone believes the official narrative. I really can't. It is the biggest con, the biggest lie, the biggest deception that has ever been rolled out, and it's only the start. They are already talking about the second one.
Yeah. I mean, if you are ill, Karine, not that it's, you know, but if you're ill, the things that you need sunlight, you need exercise, and you need a hug from your loved ones. They've deprived us of all that. And oxygen, exactly, oxygen. And these masks, someone did a test, and 21% oxygen, and they put the mask on, and it went to a critical level, because it wasn't when you try talking to someone with this on, you don't know what they're on about. You know,
especially not on the phone.
And something that 2 SRA survivors said to me, they said, when we get near to someone, we know that they're no good. We feel it. We can really pick up on it. But when you're at this distance, you don't know. You need to get near to someone to get that sense, that hypervigilance, whatever it is that they have. And they have got something. They can spot a wrong person, you know. But when they get near to them from a distance, but when they get near to them, not a physical distance. From a mentally distance. Yeah, that's right. Now, I've put on Facebook today that there has been a study. It is, I think, it's a document of Jon Rappaport, you know, where they discovered that during the lockdown, the rate of baby deaths declined incredibly because the parents were not able to go for the vaccines. Right, oh, right, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting report, and it was spectacular. Yeah. Because in 3-4 months there was no way to get to the doctor to get their vaccines, and the death rate has declined substantially. And that's the least I can say about it. Well, yeah, I mean, there's been some good things in as much as air pollution. Absolutely. Air pollution's gone, people are walking, families are going out on bike rides, you know, but no chemtrails. No chemtrails, exactly. There's, you know, environment-wise, fantastic. But what it's done to the psyche of individuals, I think is irreparable. I don't think people will ever go back. I can't see the British pubs opening. I can't see restaurants going back to what they were. You know, our society is going to change. Well, if we let them, yes, but I have a neighbor, he has a restaurant, he was just 1 month open, and he just said, fuck you all,
no masks in my restaurant, and I don't respect those distances. This is, and his restaurant is full, others are empty.
But I went to a protest, an anti-lockdown protest, and a woman was saying, you know, an old lady saying, we're now getting prosecuted for what we used to do, meet up and get together. How is this illegal in the UK? I said, I can't believe it. Do you know,
that's their problem.
Since this has occurred, I know 3 people that have committed suicide because they are survivors of abuse. I don't know anyone that's died of this virus, you know.
No, not at all, and especially not these poor people, the elderly in homes. This is so devastating. These are gas chambers. Well, so their program of the Nazis is just going on, and we cannot allow to happen that, John.
I work in a school now with autistic kids, and the kids kicked a ball over a fence into an old people's home. And every time the children play football, the teachers are screaming at them, get away from each other, get away. They're not allowed to get near to each other. If one picks a ball up, they can't give it to the other kid. They've got to wash the ball. It's ridiculous. It's mad. The kids are frightened to go near adults. I went to the old people's home to ask for the ball, and there was a family waiting there, and into like the glass porch area at the front, they wheeled their old relative from the inside, and they had to talk to her through the glass. They weren't allowed to go in.
But why do we accept all this?
Well, exactly. Why are we allowing it? Why don't we just push the door open and say, do you know what? She's coming with us, you know? And it's just all so wrong.
I put my mother out. That was before the COVID.
Yeah.
But when I go to the shop now, you know, a big shop for supplies, not for food. You have to ring the bell, and then somebody comes to get you, and then they say you have to wash your hands, and then I say my hands are clean. And then, but you know, these are government's instructions, and then you have to say what you need, and then they go with you to the. I said, but you know what? Go live in China. It's all there. Go live in China, and I leave the shop.
You know, and they'll sit there and they will scratch their heads and they'll wonder, how did Hitler get to power? How did Ceausescu get to power? You know, how did Stalin?
Many Hitlers.
Oh,
we have many Hitlers now.
You know,
corrupted.
Especially with the UK, it was seen as a seat of freedom and of democracy throughout the world. And I had a Polish lady say to me, what are you English doing? We've come from communism. We've seen communism. Communism gets into people's hearts and they can't get rid of it because they're used to being told what to do in every aspect of their life. You're different. She said, we come to England because not because you have good weather, not because your food's good or it's cheap. It's expensive, the weather's bad, the food's bad, everything else, but you have freedom. And she said, you're giving your freedoms away. But throughout this, I've used every minute I can, Corinne, to wake people up to the abuse, to the cover-ups. And I've been so driven. I'm starting at 5 in the morning. I'm finishing at 1 in the morning. I'm using every single opportunity, and it's exploded. And
perfect.
And the victims and survivors, the satanic abuse, I cannot believe. I was told, oh, you've got to. I was told by someone, you've got to stop saying it's everywhere, because it isn't. Well, what I found out, it is everywhere. It's the glue that holds all of this society together.
Yes.
Satanic abuse is what links a gangster to a politician, that links a heroin addict to a senior police officer, and it links
because
all of these.
Have to supply them. Yeah, that's true.
And
but when I said this 30 years ago, they said I was crazy because of my job. I saw all these perverts everywhere. It's not true. I can meet a pervert without knowing he's one. You know, it's not that I am paranoid at all.
No.
But if it is the truth, it's the truth, and that's why the awakening is so important at first, because you need to, you know, this society has to bury this and carry this before we can do something. And so the awakening is going on at a full speed. They will not be able to stop this anymore. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But then you have the recognition. These people want recognition. They want that their hurt, their suffering, be recognized. And by whom? Normally it is the courts. Why? Because the courts has centuries ago taken over from the people. because otherwise people were just hitting each other with a stick, and the things were arranged. But then they installed courts, and the courts represent the people, should represent the people. But there it started.
Jon Wedger is a police whistleblower. As a CID officer, he discovered back coverings on child sex trafficking networks, which led to an investigative inquiry by the Independent Police Complaints Commission, delving into the depth of police involvement. He is one of the bravest men in the country today, by many people's reckoning. Jon Wedger, thank you for joining us. Please speak freely to this commission.
I'm recently retired from the Metropolitan Police, where I served as a detective. I specialised in child abuse investigations, and what is relevant to me being here today was my service whilst on the Specialist Vice Unit. I had been asked to look into an allegation made by a 14-year-old girl that she is being used as a prostitute. On looking into it, it appeared that this girl was one of many. She gave me another girl, who in turn gave me another, and it just spiraled. Very, very quickly, we had dozens of young kids aging from 9 to 14 years old. All of them were subject to care orders, either looked after or, in placements, homes or whatever, but all known to the social services. A lot of them were known to the police for being missing persons and everything else. And all of them were addicted to crack cocaine and heroin, and were all being pimped out, as the term goes, by one person, which was a female prostitute who was very well known to the Met Police. And this woman had alleged connections with high-ranked officers, and also a local magistrate, and someone that was high up here, executive status in the BBC. This woman seemed to work with impunity for many, many years, and when looking into it, this actual racket had been going on for a long, long time. What I did was I exposed my findings. I committed them to paper in what was just a basic intelligence report, and I took it to a senior officer. And what I must say, that this isn't the first time that I'd been shut down for exposing child abuse offences. A couple of years prior to that, if I may jump the timeline, I was on an inquiry looking into transient paedophiles that had failed to register, and I found out that they were residing on canal boats within the inland waterway network of the UK. They had information from within the prison service that there were 2 paedophiles that were living on boats. Now, boats had a lot of poignancy in as much as there was freedom to travel. The canal network was very, very old and therefore didn't get policed, and children like boats. And the BBC had a programme at the time which sort of, it was to do with 2 little dolls that lived on a canal boat called Rosie and Jim, and it was tied in at the same time as I was looking into this, so kids were drawn to the waterways. I'll get back to the main story, but the reason for telling this bit was that I was told that there were 2 sex offenders. I was asked to look into it as a field intelligence officer, and if I found another 2 within a set period of time, they'd be happy. Within that period of time, I'd found 90. I came into work, and I was told by a high-ranked officer that the inquiry had been shut down, and the reason given was that they couldn't afford the funding for me. But I had been approached by a Scotland Yard detective who told me, he said, when you investigate any crime and you do well at it, you get praised. When you look into child abuse cases, the opposite happens. Be very careful. He then told me about a cabinet minister that they'd investigated on a few occasions, and on each occasion they'd been shut down. So I was aware that this had gone on. When I questioned the senior officer about, the real reason, he told me, John, I'm so sorry, it's come from high up. There's nothing I can do, and promised me any job I wanted. So I moved on to the vice unit. So I was expecting to be praised for what I found out. Each day a new child will be found, and it was just spiralling. I was brought before someone who is now a very, very high-ranked officer in the UK indeed. And he sat me down and he said, John, I've got to be very upfront with you. And I said, well, I'd like to be upfront with you, Governor, as well. And he said, you're out of all the officers I've got here, there was about, 40 officers. He said, you're the second best one I've got, which was a good accolade. He said, but unfortunately, you've dug too deep. What the hell have you done? Now, on a personal level, since the beginning of 2000, I'd brought up 4 children on my own, and this was common knowledge within my unit. And he said to me, if you ever disclose what you found out, you will lose your home, your children, and your job. You must shut the F up. And he said, you will be thrown to the wolves. You have no idea who and what you are dealing with. He said, I'm warning you now, you must back away. And then he said something quite strange. And he said that if you say a word of this, and even if you make a complaint, it will come back to me and it will go in the bin. I and no one else will ever betray fellow rank. Shut your mouth. So I walked away from that investigation, and I moved on. I was offered to stay, but I couldn't. What was very strange was that the main witness, the young girl that came forward, was found dead in the street very shortly afterwards on a suspicious drug overdose, which sort of compounded matters. I then moved on to work on child abuse investigations, which is slightly different to vice, and I can, if I have the time, explain why there is this compartmentalisation within these institutions. And it's all down to remits and justifiable reasons for actually doing nothing as opposed to doing something. I went on to a child abuse unit in one of the poorer boroughs of London.
Hello friends, this is Sacha Stone speaking to you from Southeast Asia. Some of you, or many of you, will be aware because we're getting thousands of messages constantly. We've been deplatformed from YouTube by the usual criminal suspects.
characterized as being a psychopath because they have the following characteristics: the callous unconcern for the feelings of others, the incapacity to maintain enduring relationships.
Hello friends, this is Sacha Stone speaking to you from Southeast Asia. Some of you, or many of you, will be aware, because we're getting thousands of messages constantly, we've been deplatformed from YouTube by the usual criminal suspects.